facing, and currently working in UKG as a senior Agile coach. And I've been practicing Agile from little more than 8 years. And I strongly believe in collaboration because that's a key for success and continuous improvement. Market is completely changing, so we have to improve our processes ourselves as well continuously and adaptive thinking. So at personal front, I'm married and I have 3-year-old daughter. And you can also reach me out on my email address, sahota.navneet@gmail.com. So let's talk about the user story mapping. So user story mapping is all about, you must have heard about user story mapping at some point of time in your career. So this is all about discovering the whole story, right? And building the right product. So this is a concept which was created by Jeff Patton. He has formulated this concept, and he has written many books on user story mapping. So you can go on internet and read about Jeff Patton and his books and articles about user story mapping. So it is a wonderful technique to visualize the customer journey and see what you are going to build and identify what is going to add more value. So this is a quote from his book. At the end of the day, your job is to minimize the output and maximize outcome and impact. I really like this quote because it summarizes lots of things. So intent is to maximize the outcome. We want to focus on the most priority item, the item which provides the most value to us. And on the other hand, we also want to minimize the output. By minimizing the output, I mean to say that if you are working or putting your effort on something which is a waste, right, then it's of no use for us. So if you'll focus on the right product, right requirements, you'll spend your time or energy on the right requirements, and you will minimize the waste as well. So that's what the core concept of user story mapping is, that we want to minimize the output by focusing on the most priority items in your backlog. So let's move further. So what we are going to learn today, we are going to understand what is user story mapping and why we actually need it, right? Then we'll talk about the stakeholders. What are the different type of stakeholders, right? And why we need them, right? And we'll also learn how to create a basic user story map, right? In market, there are different ways to structure a user story map based upon the tool which you are using, or even if you are doing in person, you can customize the user story mapping, right? So we'll learn the very basic structure of a user story mapping, and we'll talk about what are the benefits. And at the end, we are going to practice user story mapping. This is a slide which I guess most of us have seen in our career, agile incremental delivery. The intent over here, putting over here, is that market is continuously changing. So we want to provide value to the customer, smaller value to the customer, more frequently, as soon as possible. And user story mapping help us to do that, right? Because you can visualize the most important thing right in front of it, and you can eliminate the waste. So you can very easily capture the market which is changing with user story mapping. So what is user story mapping? It is a visual exercise which help your product development team to define the work that will create the most delightful user experience. It is very collaborative brainstorming session. Why collaborative? Because in this session, we need everyone, right? Whosoever can contribute to freeze the requirements to be there and brainstorm together, right? In brainstorming, there is nothing wrong and right. You just brainstorm and put your idea over there, and then as a team, you collaborate and discuss, whether we need it or not. So it is collaborative, highly collaborative brainstorming session, which help us to develop a big picture. At the end of the user story mapping, you are going to have this big picture in front of you where you can very easily see the value and the waste in front of you. So why there is a need for everyone to collaborate? Why one person cannot sit in a room and freeze a requirement and give it to the development team and go ahead with that? So, for example, you have this cross-functional team where there is a management people, where there are developers, right? Where there are UX people, where there are product, where there are, for example, someone from security, right? So management will think from revenue perspective. Uh, Developers are going to think more from coding or modules perspective, right? UX resources will think more from interfaces or design perspective, right? Product will think more from functional requirements. Architect might think more from technical or tech dev requirements, right? Security might have a different perspective. So during all these different perspective, the perspective of a customer is lost. So that is why we want everyone to sit together and think from a customer perspective during user story mapping session. That is why we need everyone to collaborate, sit together, whether in a single room, or you can use various tools which are there available in market. Atlassian has lots of tools like ProductGo, user story mapping, advanced user story mapping. So they also have a free trials which you can use for, like, I guess 30 days. So yes, so this is highly collaborative technique. Now, the next question you might be thinking, like, when can I use user story mapping? As I said, it is very flexible, right? You can use this at any level. We can use this at leadership level where your idea is still is it's newborn, right? It will help the leaders to visualize the ideas, divide it further, see what is more important. Or you can use this at a team level as well, you know to look at the requirements in the form of epics or stories. So you can use the way you want wherever you see there is an opportunity, and wherever you are struggling with the priorities, you can use a user story mapping technique. Okay, why we need user story mapping? Lots of reasons. Few most important one I have listed over here. We want to remove the flat backlog and understand the scope of work, right? Flat backlog is very unstructured. We user story mapping help us to structure the backlog, right? uh, you will see the priorities up front in front of you, right? So you can make your backlog structured with the user story mapping, as well as you can also understand the scope, right? It will help you to limit the scope. If something is providing a value, your maybe the most important one you want to deliver first, it will help you to limit the scope as well and understand it. We can also identify potentially shippable increment, which provide the most important value, most highest priority value to us. We can visualize the customer journey, what customer is going to experience at the end, right? We build a common understanding. Common understanding is the biggest gap that we see, right? People are not on the same page, because here in user story mapping, everyone will be in the same room or in the same meeting. They'll be brainstorming together and coming to a common conclusion. So at the end, you are going to have a common understanding and alignment between everyone. You can also identify risk and dependencies quite early in the phase of project. So when everyone is going to brainstorm together, they are going to build a common understanding, you are going to end up having a successful backlog refinement. And you can also build a better product, because we'll be bringing out the requirement through brainstorming, not just by gathering the requirements, like these are the things that we need to do, right? Instead of that, we are going to brainstorm and talk about what is the most important piece of work for us, right? So requirements are going to evolve through brainstorming, and everyone is going to collaborate in it. All right, stakeholders. So as I said, it's a highly collaborative brainstorming session. So we need to
Navneet,
identify the.
just a question popped up. What is the difference between the backlog refinement and then user story mapping? If we are doing the refinement in user story mapping itself, so what's the difference? If you can share your thoughts onto that.
Okay. So if you're doing a backlog refinement with the team, this means your stories are ready, right? You are refining the stories more. You might be refining the epics more, right? Whereas user story mapping, as I said, can be used at any level. You can use this at leaders level as well to define initiatives, to visualize the business epics or some functionalities, right? And you can also, before even getting to the team, right, you can have this brainstorming user story mapping sessions with the leaders to define the feasibility of work, right? We do not want to bring a work which is not visible in front of a team, right? To an extent, we'll define the feasibility of work uh, as well with the team of the work before getting the work to the team. Now, in backlog refinement, we do expect some level of details are ready, right? And we also do the estimations. So, at a team level, to an extent, our backlog refinement overlap with the user story mapping, but user story mapping is little at a higher level. We do not drill down, like you can even create stories out of it, or you can even limit yourself to the different activities, right? uh, so it is little higher form where the intent is not to estimate and make your stories ready, right? The intent is to get a common buy-in or understanding from everyone. Readiness of a stories will come in a backlog refinement. At the end of the backlog refinement, your stories will be ready, right, to be picked in a sprint. So that's very at a team level. I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So, identification of stakeholders is very important activity because it's a highly collaborative and brainstorming activity. We want to have a right people in the meeting, right? So, first and foremost task is whosoever is hosting this user story mapping session, they need to identify the list of stakeholder. They need to define the list of stakeholders. This can include your cross-functional team members, like maybe you need somebody from security or from cloud or from some other expertise, right? You can have some representation from product engineering or designers. So identify your list of stakeholders who is going to contribute to this brainstorming session, and then we are going to classify these stakeholders based upon roles. Maybe there will be some stakeholders who will be a decision maker, right? Whatever you are going to define or whatever outcome you are going to bring out of your workshop, who is going to buy in that, right? Maybe some senior leaders in your company, or maybe some product leader, right? So somebody need to be identified who will buy in this outcome of the workshop, right? And there can be some stakeholder who just need to know what are the outcomes of this workshop, right? Who does not approve, they just need to know the outcome of the workshop. For example, I've created some features, right? This is what I'm going to deliver. Maybe some other teams or groups are going to use that feature, so we'll inform them that this is the outcome of the workshop. They just need to know, right, the outcome. The another set of stakeholders can be who need to be involved to reach to the outcome, who will be sitting together and will be brainstorming and will be creating this complete user story map, but they are not going to approve it. They will not be taking the decision that whether we are going ahead with that. So this is something which we do not do in a backlog refinement, right? So identify your stakeholder very carefully. Do not have too many people in the meeting because it will make your workshop very difficult, because this is a brainstorming session, right? You might come with something which is irrelevant, or you might come with something which is very relevant. So Once you identify these stakeholders, we'll need a buy-in for the number of participation participants, and again, too many people can make this workshop very difficult. Okay, all
There's
right.
one question on the stakeholder management, that any suggestion on the maximum size of the US user story session, maximum size of participants?
Okay. As I said, if you look at your agile teams as well, if you have little more than 12 people, 9 to 12 people, it is difficult to handle your agile team. Same goes with this user story mapping session as well. Like if you have more than 12 or 15 people in the meeting, so it depends. If you want to have this workshop for a day, in that case, I guess it's good to limit to maximum from 12 to 15. That's what we have seen the recommendation. There is no hard and fast rule. But in case your user story mapping workshop is going to span across multiple days, in that case, you can have a wider audience and more number of facilitators. So again, you need to take a conscious call that how many facilitators you want in case you want to have a wider audience. So
Okay.
facilitator role is going to be a key role here because they're going to coordinate with the participants. So again, it depends.
Okay. There are another questions, two questions. When this story map workshop is planned? And second one, who creates and maintains the story map?
Okay. So when this is planned, we did talk about this in our first slide. When can I use user story mapping? So this is highly flexible technique. So you can plan wherever you are struggling with the priorities, right? For example, a very new vision or idea just popped up in your company and you are struggling with the clarity, right? So in that case, at a leadership level, you can have this mapping, user story mapping exercise, and you can use from that. You can begin user story mapping from that point, and as well as once you'll finalize with the features which you want to deliver, and now you are struggling with the clarity of the requirements, it's a very cross functional work. In that case, you can even have at your before your sprint planning or before even your project planning. So at any point of time you can have this whenever you feel that you are struggling with the priorities and you are struggling with the clarity. So again, it depends like at which phase you are. If you are at a leadership level and you do not have much clarity around the work, you can start when you have a vision. Uh, that can be your project initiation phase when you are creating all that plan, or you can even have it at a team level before your sprint planning. What was the second question, Siddharth?
Who creates and maintains the story map?
So product is always going to own the user story mapping, right? They are going to own the user story mapping. Facilitator can be anybody, but they will maintain and own this user story mapping, but they will not always going to be a decision maker over here. Okay. Any more questions?
Yep, we can go ahead.
All right. So, we did talk about when to use a user story mapping. You can use it at any point of time. Now, let's talk about how to create user story map. This is a very basic map which I'm going to show, which you can see on the screen. But again, it can be customized as per your need. This is a very basic one. So let's talk about the different components of a user story mapping. The first one is persona. The role. Persona is the role. So who is going to use this product, right? Is it going to be an admin? Is it going to be for example, if it is some cab booking system, is it going to be a traveler, or is it going to be some agent, right? Again, the persona help us to define the requirements. The persona help us to think more from a customer perspective. So you leave behind your developer, tester, or product or your security analyst role. You start thinking from a user perspective. So think about different personas before you know go ahead with your requirements. Think about the personas. It is going to help you to bring out the requirements. So then the second part is goal. What do they want to achieve? The personas which you have identified earlier, what exactly are goals for them? What they want to achieve? Like, I'm an Uber user and I'm a traveler. I want to book a Uber cab, right? That can be one of my goal. So what do you want to achieve? That should be your goal. So together as a group, talk about the goals, put the different goals and get in common understanding on that. Once you identify your goals, right, think about the different activities, right? What are the activities you will be doing as an end user to reach to that goal, right? I'm a Uber, I want to book a um, Uber or a taxi service. So I might be, entering my search, entering my destination, or I might be entering a different stops in between. So these are certain activities which I'll be doing to achieve my goal. So once you'll identify different activities, you can categorize them and you can group them, right? Few activities might look interrelated to you, so you can group them and categorize them, right? So once you identify your personas, goals, and activity, it's time to prioritize all of the work, all the activities. Every activity is not going to be important for you, right? So there can be different ways to prioritize it. Like, cost of delay is one of the factor which many people consider, right? That if we delay this activity, will might company will incur some more cost or fines on it. So cost of delay is one of the way. Otherwise, there are other ways. It depends on the organization and the group which is doing this activity. What are the priority factors for them? So while doing user story mapping, you should have this conversation with your group and as well as product and leaders, that what are the priority criteria for them, because based upon that we are going to prioritize the different activities. So once you prioritize these activities, you might see there will be some activities which we are, which we are not going to do. So here you can very easily see the activities which are providing value, and you will be moving out the activities which are waste for you, right? So once you do all this, you can identify an increment which is potentially shippable increment, which is going to provide value to the customer. So this user persona, user goals, and user activities provides you a narrative flow, and this is going to be the backbone of user story mapping. Any questions till now?
Nope. I think we are good.
This is the most basic structure of user story mapping, right? This can be, you can change it the way you want to be, and there are many others as well on the internet, but this one is the most basic one. So before getting into the practice of user story mapping, let's understand what are the benefits, right? We will be identifying the value which we are delivering. So we'll see how user experience the product, what efforts will lead to the best outcome. As I said, market is completely changing, very frequently changing. We need to absorb those changes as soon as possible. So we need to focus on the best outcome first. We'll get early feedbacks, because even at a leadership level, right, there is some vision, there is some just an idea. Once we'll have this visual in front of us, even they will get an early feedbacks. So we'll learn very quickly, right, before even getting your feature to the teams, and then coming back uh, with some feedback. So we'll get some early feedbacks by doing a user story mapping. Visualization of priorities and risk, because everything is in front of you, so you can very easily visualize the priorities. It helps the team to decide what is most important, what is more important, and deprioritize the work that has less user value. You can also see how large work items break into smaller ones, and you by illustrating how work items fit together. You can very easily identify the blockers, risk, dependencies, and that can be mitigated quite early. So team collaboration is the benefits. As I said, collaboration is a key in user story mapping. So it encourages conversation that leads to a shared understanding of what to build and when and why we are doing it, right? So these are some key benefits of user story mapping. Any questions till now?
No. Johnny, you had some question?
Yes, Siddharth. Navneet,
Yeah.
I think as per user story mapping, as per my understanding, we can follow Moscow model over here.
Yes, you can do that. Again, I said you can customize it the way you want to do. The intent of user story mapping is just to build a common understanding and get a visualization from a customer perspective.
Exactly, right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what the intent is. How you do it, what changes you bring, how you want to customize it, it's up to you.
Yes,
This is Venkatesh. I have a question here. So when we have it at a higher level, at the business level, it can have at, for example, the theme or epic level. And if it is at a team level, sprint team level, we can have it at which level? So there I am getting confused.
So,
Is
for example, okay, at business level, at leaders level, everything is done. Now it's time to bring this user story mapping to the team, right? So before or bringing the stories in front of a team, you'll have this session where everyone will brainstorm and will divide those epics. For example, these features, you call them epic, right? You'll divide these epics into different requirements, maybe a user story, right? Or some might call it task, right? And then you'll talk about the priorities as well, right? What is most important for us. So at team level as well, if you're struggling with the priorities, if you're struggling with the requirement clarification, you can have this session. We generally do this. We generally do this with team in two scenarios. First, when during the pre-refinement, right, we want to create some kind of framework or some kind of we want to freeze some high level requirements or get a clarity around those requirements or get a clarity around the feasibility of the requirements before bringing that piece of work to the team. So in pre-refinement you do that, where you can have some representation from your team as well as representation from your product or some other cross functional team. That is one of the scenario. You're ready, uh, you are making your epic or feature ready or in terms of feasibility or a high level requirement before bringing in front of a team. Or at a team level, you can have this meeting when you want to create the stories, like you'll have this picture in front of you, you can have all the stories and tasks, and then you can talk about the priorities, right? And everyone will get involved in it. So in both ways you can do it.
Thanks, Navneet.
Do we have some more questions?
Nope. I think we can go ahead.
Okay. So one thing before we jump, as I said, we check the feasibility of work, right? We do not want a team to work on feature epic, which is not at all feasible, right? So before that, before bringing that to the team, you can do some kind of spike or research work, right? And user story mapping will help you to visualize that. So so there are different tools available. So you can do this, and if you're co-located team, so you can do this in a room, right? Take some sticky notes, put that on a board, create a basic skeleton of goals or activities, right? Or stories or tasks, right? You can do that in a room. And there are some Atlassian tools as well, which are there in the market. So Story Map is one of the tools. ProductGo, when Easy Agile Team Rhythm is a very popular one. If you are using Easy Agile, so you can try this as well, because with one click you can import all your items which you have created, whether that is your business epics or some stories or activities directly to Jira. And you can also explore advanced story map tool of Atlassian, and there are many more. So go ahead and look for these tools. There are some free versions, trial versions as well. Okay, now let's practice user story mapping. I am going to use ProductGo. So this is a tool which is integrated in Jira, and so here I have created a very basic structure of goals, activities, and here you can create your what you maybe you can call your stories or activities. We don't want you to, you can use this. You can take out the stories out of it. You can take out the epics out of it. You can take out the releases out of it. So once you have this clarity about what you are going to do, you can, use this. The outcome can be your release, epic, or even stories, right? So let's take an example of GoGo Travel app, right? So this is a travel app where you can book your airline tickets, right? Whatever you do while flying, like booking a ticket, cancellation of ticket. So if you want to travel to any destination in the world, this is a GoGo Travel app. So everyone understand GoGo Travel app? It's like your Expedia, right? So through plane, if you want to travel, by air, if you want to travel to any part of the world, so you can use this GoGo Travel app. Here, as I said, the very first component of user story mapping is your personas. So let's talk about different personas. Anyone in the call? Can someone suggest different personas?
Could be a traveler or a customer.
Okay, so let's keep it just traveler. So
Booking
customer
agent,
will be your traveler.
booking
Okay,
agent,
booking agent. Who else can be your persona?
Organization.
transporter, driver.
So this is a airline booking travel app. So let me specify the scope, that here we'll be just booking the flights to travel in a world. So we'll just restricting ourselves to booking air travel.
It
I
can
think
be organization, corporate organizations.
Okay, corporate organization. Yeah,
airlines.
you're saying airline staff.
Yeah, I mean, whoever on behalf of the airline is booking, or as an entity, you can call.
All right. So we got four personas: airline staff, traveler, booking agent, corporate
Insurance,
organization.
insurance companies.
Okay. So these personas are going to help us to freeze the requirements or look at the requirements, right? Not freeze, that will be the last activities of freezing the requirements. But these personas are going to help to look at the requirements, right? So now if I talk about a traveler, right? Your traveler can be your business traveler, right? Because business traveler might have a different requirements. Or your traveler can be your leisure traveler, a person who is just traveling, not for business. They are just traveling to explore the world. Their requirement might be different, right? So that is and the corporate organization, they might be booking in bulk, or they might have some tie-up with some airline. So having these personas will help us to, visualize the and divide the requirements. So let's take an example of just a traveler. Let's stick to traveler. We can have business traveler and leisure travelers. So as a business traveler and leisure traveler, what would be your goal? Anyone in the call?
Goal to book the flights at cheaper rate, the quality uh, of the food, or you know the space in the airline should be good.
So your goal will be to book the flight, right? Your other goal is to book a flight at a cheaper rate, right? That can be something like comparing, right? Comparing flights. That can be one of your goal, right? What else?
I think in-flight food was one of the option.
Service.
Service. That is your goal, right? Service of flight. Maybe you are a leisure traveler, and for you,
Booking.
service of a flight is more
No
important.
hidden cost, or there should be any hidden cost.
Sorry?
There should be any hidden cost, ticket hidden cost and other things.
I'm not getting. Are you talking about the class in a
No,
flight?
about the goals. So about the
The
persona.
prices should be clear, transparent. No hidden cost should be there that they need to pay afterwards or that. So that should not be there.
Yes. Thanks, Siddharth.
Yeah. Atul, you were saying something.
Comfort.
So I was saying that the hotel booking, the whole itinerary, payment gateway,
Okay.
integration.
See, think from a customer perspective. Customer will not think about integration, right?
Okay,
Think
so
from a
for the
customer perspective.
customer perspective, the insurance, safety,
Yeah,
travel
insurance.
insurance,
Yeah.
safety, comfort.
Search for a flight is
Pick
can
up and pick up and drop from airport.
okay. Yeah, a few airlines provide that. Like if you are traveling in a business class, they provide this. And
Priority check-ins.
yeah,
Priority check-ins and the luggage that you can carry with the flights.
right. So these are the goals which we have identified as a business traveler and a leisure traveler, right? Uh, okay. What if I add one goal? Exploring different destination. Can it be a goal for business traveler or leisure traveler?
I think for leisure traveler, it can be a goal.
Yeah, it can be goal, because the leisure traveler, the major intent is to explore the world. So for them, this is more important. Maybe comparison of a flight cannot be more important for them, but exploring different destination. And while exploring a different destination, they might need look at the reviews as well, right? And see what are the different hotspots in some country which I can. So these are the different goals, right? So let's take one of the goal, considering the time which we have. Let's take one of the goal. So in this goal, booking a flight. This is our first goal. So if I go to this goal, I can add two personas to this. The one person, first one is going to be our business, right? Traveler. The second persona is going to be a leisure traveler, right? And if I talk about this goal, exploring different destination, right? Here we might have just one persona. that is leisure traveler. Business traveler might not be interested in that. So here you go. So as you can see on the screen, we are able to identify the goals, different goals based upon a different personas. So let's stick to one of the goal, which is your booking a flight. What are the activities you think that as a traveler that you'll be doing while booking a flight? Do not think as a developer, right? Do not think from coding perspective that these are the stories which I need. Think from a customer perspective. While booking a flight, what are the things you will be doing?
Mode of booking.
That would be,
Mode of booking.
can you explain it more?
Either I'm using a mobile app or booking from web application.
Hmm. Okay.
Food in flight.
While booking of, okay, these are the activities. Mode of booking can be one.
Mode of
Food,
payment of options.
yeah, mode of booking, app and payment. Food, that activity, you'll be checking the food availability, right? Will you be searching your flight first while booking it?
Yes, date
As
and
a traveler, right?
Date,
date
date
and
and
time.
time.
Yeah. How you'll be searching, that is, we will talk later, but the activity which you will be doing is searching, right? Search for a flight,
Yeah,
searching
search.
flights, right? Uh, okay.
Amount the cost.
So comparing the prices is, if it is your goal, right, then it might come something under this, right?
Okay.
That activity, right? So while searching a flight, let's stick to searching a flight because
Connecting flight maybe then.
yeah, while searching a flight, if you'll check connecting flight, right? What all activities you'll be doing while searching a flight?
Preferred
Uh,
airlines.
Yep, that is preferred airline.
and whether the flight starts in the night or in the day.
Yeah,
What do you call
preferred
it?
airline, and let me club timing as well, right? What else? You'll be giving your destination as well, giving your start uh, travel details like your start location, your destination as well, travel details. What else you'll be doing?
Number of passengers
Yeah.
and the
Uh,
seat, window
yep.
seat or preferred seats.
Destination.
If a leisure traveler, they might choose the class as well as the type of plane that airlines are offering.
Class. Class. Um,
Web check-in facility.
web check-in. Do you, okay, what else? So after just couple of more tasks, so these are the search flight is an activity which you are doing, and while doing activity you might be, looking at the class, you'll be giving your travel details, you'll search for a preferred airline and timing, some connecting flight. What else you'll be doing?
Luggage allowed.
Yeah,
That we will be
you'll be
checking.
checking how much luggage is allowed, right? Is allowed. Do you want to save the search options for your future reference?
Yep. Save the search option, save the passenger list. Because if you are traveling with your family, you want to save the passenger list so that you need not to enter the details.
So now I have a question for you. In which cases I'll be saving the search, right? If I'm a business traveler and I know where my business is, right? In that case, I might be saving my search because I need to fly to a same destination very frequently, right? And because I'm traveling with the to a same destination, I might know my preference as well every time, business class, economy class. But if I'm a leisure traveler, I want to explore the different destination. In that case, saving a search option cannot be an option for me. I don't want to save the destination because I'm a leisure traveler. So that's how your persona will help you to define the requirements. Are you getting my point?
Yep.
Now, we have identified different categories, right? We talked about grouping these activities and categorizing these activities and grouping them, right? So, we did talk about your um services of the flight. We did talk about the food availability, mode of booking and payment. Um, so, mode of booking and payment, yeah, can be under your book flight. Services of the flight can be your food availability, right? Right. That can be your services. Web check-in can also be a service on a flight, right? Web check-in, so we can, so that's you, it can be your service in a flight. Okay, now think about, we categorized our activities, whatever we are able to identify. Now think about the priority. If you're a business travel, what is a priority for you? Right? What can be your priority for you out of this? Most important one.
Preferred airlines timings so that I
Yeah,
can
this
get
is
best
going
out
to
of
be
the
your preferred airline. And after preferred airline, what can be the other priority for you? You are a business traveler, right? You might be traveling for something very critical, right?
Day of travel.
Yeah, day of travel. The timing, it comes in a timing. And also the connecting flight.
connecting flight.
Yeah. So that's how you organize your priority, right? In this case, if I'm not a business traveler, right, I might ignore this activity, save search option and passenger list. Sorry, if I'm a leisure traveler, then I'm so in business traveler, this can be one of our priority because I want to save my time, right? Uh, so but in case of leisure travel, I might ignore this. So this will help us to eliminate the waste as well. So are you getting my point over here? That there are few activities that I might delete if I'm just, for example, sticking to leisure traveler. So I might delete this activity because that is not, as of today, providing the most value to me,
When
right?
we are defining the minimum viable product MVP,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we might take decision to do it or not do it.
So what we are doing over here, we are taking decisions based upon the personas, right? So, for uh, you think that hotel booking is of highest priority for a business traveler or a leisure traveler, or comparing a flight and clarity regarding the cost factor. Do you think that it is more important for a business traveler or leisure
No,
traveler?
it is for both. So we have to travel and stay somewhere, right? So it is it holds good for both the
Yeah,
personas.
it holds good for both, right? But here you can have some activities related to, maybe the leisure traveler would need a hotel near to some tourist place. A business traveler might need some a guidance regarding uh, hotels which are near to your office. So again, the activities which each persona will be doing will be different, right? So so what we have concluded over here is like that you can visualize different goals, like different activities that will be doing to achieve these goals from a different perspective, from a customer perspective at the end of the user story mapping. Now, if you think that this preferred airline is a highest priority for you, right? For example, if you are doing this activity at a team level, right? This can be one of your story, and then you can talk about your different task over here under this. So you can add different tasks. And at one click, I'm using this ProductGo. At one click, you can convert this story map into a roadmap. Atlassian provides a very good feature, right? Your goals will become your epics, right? And this can become your stories, and then you can create your task under that. You can even assign that. So again, it depends on the tool which you are using, how you are customize your product. Again, here, look, if I want to take out the release, like what are the items I'll be able to release? For example, I have just 1 month of release. I have a fixed time. What are the most important items or the features which I'll be able to release? So I might provide some functionality of search, a very basic functionality, right? Which is just doing a search, right? And then I might provide some basic functionality of a web check-in, right? So again, it depends on the people in a group and the stakeholders, what is a minimum functionality which we want to provide to a customer, which is important from customer perspective. Are you able to understand and relate this concept to your day-to-day work?
Yes, very much, very much. This is very
Okay.
useful too, because this gives a pictorial representation of what, where, and how it goes. This could be used at a at a product management and product team level as well as at the team level. I understand PO can use this to showcase during the refinement, right?
So this concept was there in the market for a very long time. When I started my career 18 years back, right? And like after a couple of years, 4 or 5, I started hearing about this concept. But now, why there is so much of boom to use this product? Because as I said, the market is continuously changing. We cannot pick one piece of work and start working on it for 6 to 7 months and deliver to a customer. Every month the requirements will get changed. Even leadership will be doing this planning continuously. So by visualizing this work, we'll be picking the most important work, and we'll be ignoring the work, ignoring the activities which are not important for us, right? Again, minimize the output and maximize the outcome. I do not want to deliver 100 stories if I'm not providing value to the customer. That's what, one of the intent of user story mapping is.
I think Abhishek have one question. He has raised his hand. Abhishek.
Yes, thank you. So Navneet, which is the plugin that you are using here? Is it Advanced Agile
I'm
mapping?
using ProductGo.
ProductGo. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
and
yeah,
yeah, go ahead, please. No, no. After.
there are different tools which Atlassian offer us. Story map, easy agile rhythm, team rhythm. There is advanced story
Mhm.
map as well. So you can even go for their paid version or 30 days free version.
I know. So the name is ProductGo. Okay. And the roadmap view which you just showed, was that the native cloud functionality, or is that also a part of this plugin?
This
That
is
feature.
part of this. See, roadmap is a part of Jira,
Mhm.
right? A
Yeah.
Jira portfolio plan. But this product Go gives you a functionality to map this story map work directly into a roadmap. So these are two different plugins, but product Go helps you to sync those. So
Got
we
it.
have
Got
created
it.
roadmaps separately, and we can also convert this story map completely into a roadmap.
All right. So in case if I uninstall my plugin somehow, so would this roadmap be would stay intact? Because what I see is that these stories are synonymous. Sorry, the activities are synonymous to stories, while the goals are synonymous to your epics. So in case if I suppose remove the plugin, so would these remain intact in my roadmap view because that is a native feature of Jira.
So roadmap, if you have roadmap plugin integrated in your Jira, see
So roadmap is a
stories
native.
once,
Roadmap is native. Roadmap is
yeah.
native.
So it will stay in the roadmap, and plus these stories and epics will also stay.
All right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Once converted,
I can use Miro board also for this right now, ne? For this
again, you
purpose.
can use Miro, you can use even your normal whiteboard as well in your Teams channel,
Yeah.
right? It depends what you want to use. You can even use your classroom boards for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Using these plugins, as Abhishek was mentioning, once we derive these things and we have these goals and activities defined, they can be automatically converted to stories and epics. So that's the benefit of using this thing. Otherwise, you can use Miro, you can use Jamboards, you can use other different tools which are uh, available in the market. Or as Navneet mentioned, you can use the whiteboard and you can use sticky. And there are fan following of using stickies while doing this user story mapping.
And then why to forget conference whiteboards?
Yes, conference whiteboard. That's also a good thing.
I
Navneet,
love doing this exercise in classroom.
can you show the roadmap how it converts the story map into roadmap? If that is the case, it is very useful when it converts everything else.
Yep. So
So
this
this
has
is how.
converted this into epic and stories, right? You can even schedule your releases from here. You can give a timeline over here, right? You can give your releases. But again, this training is not about the tool. This training is more about the concept. If you look at other tools as well, which Atlassian is offering us advanced story map, they might have a different configuration, but they, at the end they all get synced to Jira. Your whatever you'll create under these tools, it will get synced to Jira. Like for example, many of you will be doing easy agile planning, right? So there is a team rhythm which will help you to whatever you will create in easy agile, all the dependencies, everything will be synced directly, to Jira in rhythm, easy agile team rhythm. Any more questions?
And hope this should be visible across teams, right? Across arts.
Yeah.
So,
That's up to the configurations that is done by the admin, Jira admin, and the who has enabled this tool, so they can control the visibility and all those things.
okay.
I don't see any questions on the chat, and we are on the time as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Uh, if not, then we can discuss another thing.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining. It was really nice talking to
Thanks,
you.
Navneet. Thanks for giving a wonderful session. I'll request everyone if they can switch on their cameras. I'll just take a pic for our memories and we can then wrap it up.
Thanks, Navneet.
Thank you, Navneet. Thank you, Siddharth.
Thanks, Navneet.
Thank you everyone.
Okay, so let me click the pic. I'm taking a snippet shot. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining in. And we hope to see you again in our future sessions. And Navneet, thanks for taking out time and giving us a wonderful session. and hope to see you more as a speaker in our events. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.